going on, everyone? Welcome to the Last Call podcast. I am your host, Arthur Gatton. Today on the show, I am joined by Jack Beguedou, better known as the Hood Sommelier. He is a world spirits consultant, content creator, and the host of the Truth is Barrel Proof podcast. From his roots in Cacao to building a brand that blends culture, community, and education, Jack has become a leading voice in making spirits more approachable and inclusive. We're diving into his journey, the stories behind the bottles, and the impact he's making in the world of whiskey and beyond. Welcome into the show, Jack. How are you doing, sir?
Another day in paradise.
Awesome, man. Hey, before we started, we did talk about it. It's a little weird being on this side of it, huh, Jack?
Yeah, I'm usually the one interviewing brands and asking the questions. So it feels good to actually not have the pressure. It's I get to answer questions now, so it's much more fun on this side.
Listen, if you ever want to flip roles, you let me know and I got you.
Absolutely.
But Jack, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you've done. So even like becoming a Hood Sommelier, where did that come from, and what was the origin story, the ethos of it?
I'm a product of a bad joke during COVID.
Okay.
I tell. So it was a combination of a lot of things. When I started, or when I was interested in spirit, it was because I was terrible at golfing. Just terrible. And by trade, I have a background in insurance and finance, so that's what I do. And the way I was brought into insurance was because somebody saw something in me and made me realize that there was a gap. Coming here as a foreign student,
Mm-hmm.
I've realized that a lot of us, not only because of language barrier or social economic position, didn't understand insurance. And quickly, when I started in my field in insurance, I realized a lot of people asked me for advice. So I learned quickly that to become a great salesman, I didn't have to sell. I just had to educate. And when I started the education of the community and the folks around me, quickly I became known as the insurance guy. So, especially in the immigrant community, a lot of minority communities, it became a thing. But I wanted to expand my reach. I didn't just want to stop at the immigrant community. I wanted to reach, more of those um affluent community, people that owns a big, triplex, a hotel, all those. And one of the technique, or one of the advice I've received is like, oh, you need to do activities that those people do: golfing, biking, pickleball, whatever it is that those people do
Pickleball.
as the rich people fun, right?
Yeah.
So, my mentor originally trying to get me to golf, he tried his best, but I'm sure I tired him just by how terrible, or all the graves that I had to dig on the golf course just by trying to hit the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But then I took it up myself. I say, as a business owner, I heard the best line one time. They said the best deals are signed on the golf course. So, which motivated me to go there and meet other people. But when I will go, I will, I'm from Africa, right? The only way you start any great conversation is, pouring something in a glass and pouring something for the ancestors. And as a habit, I go anywhere, I go to a party, I always have a little something with me. And I took the same thing on a golf course. So
Mm-hmm.
even though I was terrible, I poured them something. They liked it. They're like, oh, they didn't discourage me, man. But they're like, oh, if you come in next time, bring more alcohol. And I started doing more of that. And every time I'll bring it, they will ask me questions about it. But for some reason, they were more interested in hearing me talk about what I brought in, because myself, just by nature, when I started making what I call big boy money, I will always pick, when I go to a store, I'll always pick a spirit. I'll go do my research on it before I drink it. Now, it became more of a thing for me now. I will go do my research. I will go and on the golf course, I'll bring some things. And for some reason, they just like me like that. But everything I kept doing, I will just go on YouTube, and I'll go look for it. And then I realized no one sounded like me. or no one looked like me, right? And every time I would see anybody that either looked like me or maybe even sounded like me, they're talking about vodka, or they're talking about a weird mixed drink, or they're talking about Hennessy, or just something simple. But I wanted the high end bourbon, the high end single malt, the Scotch, the PD one, the exclusive one, and I just wasn't finding any.
Mm-hmm.
So in my head, I already knew there was a gap in the industry, right? In just as a consumer,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no one like me is there to teach me what I know.
Mm-hmm.
If I go in insurance, I can point three people that I know that are like me or sound like me that in insurance, and I know I'm part of that group. But that was missing in there.
Mm-hmm.
But it really what didn't become really serious versus actually one post here, a golf course, and just hanging out with my friends and telling them all I knew, uh, till COVID happened.
Okay.
Just at the beginning of COVID, I moved into a new place. And when I moved into a new place, I wanted to build this bar. And I had this beautiful bar. And I can tell you, my all my savings went into filling that bar up. I made every mistake every spirit person could do.
Jack.
Buy spirit. Yeah, this is honest. Buy
Yeah, I
spirit
really
I
appreciate
didn't
it.
try before.
Mm-hmm.
Buy things that were hyped up online. So the reason why I became who I am today is because I made every mistake anybody can make. I'm the product of, the secondary market mistakes, trading things that were not even worth the part mistakes. I made it all just to make sure that I built this beautiful place that I imagine in my head should be, right? Now COVID happened. We all stuck in my basement. Everybody knew where the booze was because I have over, 500 bottles in my bar. So everybody knew where it was. So before then, my good friend of mine, we were as a business owner. I found a platform that was helping other women, small in Africa to actually do business. So I was working out a lot, and we created a small brand called Beast Mode, and every t-shirt we sold will that would the revenue help those women become entrepreneur in Africa. So while we were talking about that design and me bothering all of them about every whiskey they have to try, I'm like, oh, wait, let me tell you, this one is this and it's that and it's this. He's like, we already made a brand for you that you're talking about on Instagram. Why don't you do the same thing for this whiskey thing? Clearly, you like talking about it,
Mm-hmm.
but we are tired every week when we're here, hearing you for 3 hours talking about this whiskey. I'm like, dude, we are French. I'm like your whiskey sommelier, right? I'm your sommelier. I'm here to help guide you for you to know. He's like, yeah, we get it. But at that time, the house I bought was at the edge of the hood. So
Yeah.
my friend is like, "Oh, you like the hood sommelier? You're at the edge of it." But then, like a thing clicked in my head, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you go back, the hood is the place where everybody lived,
Yeah.
and it doesn't matter if you was the doctor, if you're, and then that was the one thing in my neighborhood. We had doctors that lived in that neighborhood for a long time. It's really minority driven, really good school magnet. But people call it the hood because that was the old place, right? Oh, and more obviously, when black people live somewhere, everybody says the hood, right? So,
Yeah.
so obviously it was that, but that place was more gentrified than anything. People were taking out their dog and their lattes around. But I bought in that area because I really wanted to help other minority businesses there, being an insurance agent. And I realized the hood here, or my hood, was everyone from the crackhead on the corner to the doctor living in the corner. Everyone liked alcohol. Every single person did. And it was just an inspiration on a day after we had that conversation, walking to the park and started jogging. I'm like, I am the hood sommelier. I could talk to anybody. I could teach anyone from the minority guy to the rich guy. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
They are part of my hood. They can learn something. They can everybody's welcome, right?
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, ironically, because my uncle is a real sommelier, which he hates my name.
Oh,
He's actually a certified sommelier. It's like so
when he heard it, did
he
he just give you a
no,
dirtiest
we
look?
met again. We met again about a few months back, or not
Mhm.
also great. My dad passed away, so I went back home and we met again.
My
He's like,
condolences
I
again.
still hate your name, but but he's like, I see you doing well in the whiskey industry. But
Family got to tell you, right? Like you want the family to be honest. Somebody got to tell you.
so
Like,
but I became the hood sommelier, and I wore this cape as the person that bring my hood together
mhm.
on the internet. And three things I promised myself when I got in this industry is be able to open doors that were closed to people that either look or sound like me. Bring everyone around whiskey because I realized quickly that whiskey was a white man's sport, right?
Mhm.
Spirits in general was a white man's sport, and I didn't want that. I wanted everybody in.
Mhm.
And inclusivity was very important to me because myself, when I try to walk in, I've met a lot of defensive force, right? People that were gatekeeping or blocking or shadow blocking you just so you don't
A lot of
they
resistance.
don't
Mhm.
want you in their circle, right? So,
Mhm.
but I wear that name proudly now as the Hood Sommelier because if you're with me, if you follow me, if you like my stuff, if you want to learn something, I don't care where you from, who you are, who you love, you're part of my hood.
Yeah,
So I am the Hood Sommelier.
man, I love that origin story. I'm not even gonna lie to you. That's we talked about it before we started recording. That was part of the reason why I reached out. As someone who people who've been watching and following the show for some time, we started being called Bourbon and BS because I wanted to replicate kind of a similar thing. Like I feel like our stories are a little parallel. We wanted to do that, make a show because this is what our second or third podcast. And when I was thinking of doing another one, a branch off one, we wanted to replicate those nights where during the pandemic, we brought people we trusted, have fun with, and started making cocktails, drinking at home, really enjoying ourselves in this, like the corner of my, like in the back of my house. And I want to replicate that because you get to like that midnight, 1 a.m., and people are telling you some interesting stories, some deep felt conversations, or some goofy silliness. Like it's just been great nights. So, but you're right. Even initially when I made those shows and episodes, people were like, "What do you know about bourbon?" I was like, "Probably the same thing that you can Google too, sir." Like information's out there. Like I understand that, and it came with that little resistance because it wasn't traditionally a Dominican or Hispanic thing. So when
Hmm.
I saw what you were doing, I was like, I'm about it, and I think that that's one of the. And I'd already started the show, and I commended you. You were holding meetings and kind of like I guess you would have like sessions with all women. Like, hey, let's talk to you about whiskeys, bourbons, and so this way, like you learn about the nuances, try stuff that you don't have to pay $500 to try. Like you said, you made the mistakes, you learned, you wouldn't do it again. So, cheers to you, man, because that's one of those industries that's tough, and I love that you bring the knowledge and expand people's palates and culture. Like to this day, I have friends and family who are like, oh, I've never like whiskey, like they would like scoff at it first, and then now when they come over, like, hey, yo, can you make me one of those old fashions? And hey, can you make me a whiskey sour? Hey, can you make me a lion's tail? Hey, like, I'm like, yeah, I got you. It's like, oh, I thought you didn't like whiskey. They're like, yeah, but you just do it different. I was like, no, you just tried
Right.
it. Like you just tried it. That's all it was. You give it a shot. But pleasure, man. I'm glad that you kept it going. I know that you talked a little bit about your historical, like your background, your culture, right? As you know, you're from West Africa, like that. Does that heritage influence kind of like what you were looking at for spirits and storytelling? And I know, like as minorities, we are fantastic storytellers. We can sit around a fire, we can sit around with chairs and just tell some tall, exaggerated tales. I know my uncles have lied.
Right.
My uncle straight lied to my face.
Oh yeah. I think if you have not grew up in a minority, and even worse, if you're over 40 years old, you've heard stories that, we have a little bit of tales, a little bit
Mhm.
of that mystical, a little bit of
Yeah.
that, kind of uh that transports you to a new world. When I was a kid,
Mhm.
that shows how old I am. But when I was a kid, once every Saturday, I used to sit by the radio
Mhm.
to hear this guy called Patrick Ngemadong, and he was on a channel where he tells you the stories, right?
Mhm.
And with little background noises, and you feel as a kid like you
Like
are
the
transported,
OG
like
podcasting.
When I told you, like, that was the original podcast. Are we
Yeah.
talking the early 90s?
Mhm.
And you sat next to the radio every Saturday, listened to Patrick and Madong. And the title of his show was Mysterious Adventures, right?
Yeah.
And like he would tell you the stories, and these stories have weird character. Till today, I have a friend, I have his handle called Juan Miguel Pedroso. And because that was the story that won him like an Emmy, like an award, and that we everybody
Oh,
knows, and it's
wow.
about this, yeah. And it's like Juan Miguel Pedroso lived in this place, and it's about ghost stories, like people that have ghost encounter. But you hear all these things, and I think that's kid. It helped us today tell the story, right?
Mhm.
Tell the story. But yeah, my African influence really helped me in understanding that you don't have to be blood to be family. That's the one thing that people they're distinguishing,
Mhm.
right? And my heritage is you don't have to be blood to be family. That's one. Second, you also, as long as you pour in something, you're part of us, right?
Yeah.
If we pour in something, you're part of us. I remember, I think my parents fed more the kids of the neighborhood than they
Yeah.
fed us,
Yeah.
right?
You know what? Yeah.
If you think about it, if you come from an immigrant family, you're like,
The-
how is it that, they
my,
always say the guests will eat before you? I'm like,
yo,
what are you talking
my
about? I
my
was
family
here.
my family would go all out to make sure we had the best meal for when guests were
Correct,
around. I'm like, what the
correct.
hell? Like,
But it's one of those things. And when you see people, in this industry, people never mention hospitality, right?
mhm.
Whiskey or any spirit won't sell if somebody behind the bar is not recommending it, selling it, making a cocktail with it, creating a cocktail with it. That will not happen.
Mhm.
And for me, he helped me immediately um, give give praise and politeness and a place of value to people in hospitality. The bartender, the bar back, the people that are out there making things. No one had to tell me, oh, if you're an influencer online or podcaster or an educator, you have to respect people in hospitality because I already knew, growing up in a country in the way hospitality is a big deal,
Mhm.
that those are the people I respect in the industry, right?
Yeah.
Immediately. Um, but also, yeah, listening to tales, it helps me. It also pushed me when I wanted to have a podcast and when I wanted to start talking. I didn't care about how expensive your whiskey is, and my guest will tell you if you listen to any of the episode on YouTube. I never care about the price. The price come way way later, right?
Mhm.
I want to hear about you. How did you get here?
Mhm.
How did we get here? How did this product came about?
Mhm.
And what are your hopes for this? And how can we help you reach those goals? So I could be the podcast that could just, I remember my first original podcast that I had was Monday Sucks.
Oh yeah.
That was my first podcast
Yeah.
during the pandemic. That's what we had. Monday sucks. And the reason why we had that podcast is because truly Monday sucks. And when people came on that podcast, it started with just Brent coming on and
Mhm.
just shooting the shit. Like, hey,
You just
Monday
have
sucks.
brands
Let's
coming
talk
on there
about it.
just shooting the shit about Monday sucks.
Yeah, Monday sucks. Let's talk about it, right? While we talking about your history, tell us why you need a drink, and let's talk about, how why is it's okay to come here and complain.
Mhm.
But then it involves the truth is barrel proof because I believe that I don't need you to give me the fluff. Just give me the truth exactly out the way spirit comes out of the barrel. No water added, unfiltered, untamed. Just give it to me.
So that was the evolution to going
Correct,
from
correct.
Monday sucks to the truth is barrel proof.
And that's the handle of the Hood Sommelier. The Hood Sommelier, my
It's true.
tagline is a
It's
truth is barrel proof.
100%. Yeah, I've seen it before. I was like, I love the
Correct.
name. So how's that been going? And how are you enjoying the change and kind of the evolution about just getting unfiltered, and now with a little bit more brand recognition? How's that been going for you?
It's you know, I wish the one thing I remind people is social media is like a beast,
Yeah,
right? That's what people don't understand.
yeah.
A hungry beast that can turn against you really quickly. So for that reason, you have to, just like if you had a pet before, you will get what I'm trying to say. Is your pet is hungry, he's a protector, he's there to actually be with you, he's your companion. But if you spoil your pet,
Mhm.
he will act out of character. And that's what social media is, right?
Mhm.
You can choose to post every day, show this, do that, put your personality, put your whole life out there. Or you can choose to just do things because it makes you happy and you think it will actually serve a purpose.
Yeah.
And like I said, I made all the mistakes. And that was one thing. Before I would just post, try to, get the buzzword, the things in for
The
people to go.
hashtag.
Hashtag, but also even the brands, like, oh, I want, a gotcha moment where
Mhm.
it can make me, it can give me this visibility. And then I realized, no, it, if you ask me how it's working, I really do not care how it's working. At this point in time, I'm doing what I believe is right. That is an impact in this community or this little bubble
Yeah.
of the industry that we're in.
Mhm.
And so far, the people that actually are paying attention and realizing, hey, this guy is
The real
doing
deal.
something that's different. So when I'm reaching out to brands, I'm now out there chasing the flashy brand. I'm chasing brands that I believe have a story
Yeah.
and they need to talk to me. And there's some brand, I will be honest with you, that won't even talk to me. They won't be talk to me. There, I have horror stories for days. Brand ambassadors that you reach out to that will meet you in real life and just fluff your ego and go, oh yeah, we'll get together. You email them, you text them, you reach out to them. They will not talk to you. There's brands right now that I call them are on my no-no list, mean that those brands I will never invite or even consume their stuff because of who they are behind the brand. Those are people that say, "Oh, I want to talk to you about a story." Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Or they will give you an appointment and even cancel. All right. So for that reason, I started worrying about what does that look like. I
Mhm.
just do.
Yeah.
And if it works out, it works out. If it's great, it's great. I used to be obsessed with numbers. How many likes do I have? How many people listen to my podcast? How many? And then I realized, no, this will eventually become something I do full time maybe or more than, as a hobby. But
Yeah.
truly, it has to be fun
See?
for me to truly enjoy doing it every day.
Yeah. And even in your videos, even when you're talking about a spirit, even any of the things I see you post, you seem to be having a genuine good time. And one of the common threads, we've interviewed a couple of influencers and people that just even build their brands on different things. We've had a good friend now. His name's Jonathan Perez. He does Latinos Against Spooky shit. Like he loves horror movies, whatever. Good friend. Like, but when we talked to him, I was like, hey, so what was the moment it clicked? He's like, I really enjoyed it. I started having fun. I just started making content for me. I started doing things for me. I thought it was great. Thought it was fun. I enjoyed horror. It was a natural fit. And it blew up. I'm like, this is fantastic. So the fact that you're having fun and you've set that kind of tone of gives you also credibility. I don't want to follow someone who's going to just appease everyone and just say yes because they're the biggest brand and throwing the most dollars at me. So it gives you a lot of credibility where people can trust your opinion and trust where you're coming from. Because if I'm following an influencer or following someone, because at the end of the day, I take a human being's, you spoke about earlier where you're looking up these brands and finding out information on them. If I have to find someone whose opinion matters to me, I'm going to look for Jack because
Right.
someone else could get bought off. Jack is going to tell me if this is trash and if I should waste $150, $300, $400 on a bottle. Someone else will be like, oh no, paid sponsorship is going to be written at the top that where you can't see it. It's like, oh, you're recommending this bottle and you have it. And I wouldn't clean my car with it. I wouldn't disinfect shit with it. So I love that, man. I think that's really good. And I love the name. Truth is Barrel Proof is fantastic name, tagline. I'm not going to lie to you. Jealous. It's a fucking great name. So really excited to keep hearing more about that and everything you're doing. Now, I know we talked about it a little bit, but with the Hood Sommelier, the neighborhood sommelier, and you figured out at some point that the price doesn't always matter. Quick question before we take a break. is what are some budget-friendly bottles that you would recommend? Budget-friendly bottles that just stood out above the rest. 3.
I
I'll give
feel
you 3.
like
How about 3?
I feel like I had this, there's an episode on my podcast that
What episode?
I called budget friendly is no longer friendly.
Yeah. Price is going up ridiculous.
Correct. So
I remember when Eagle Rare was like $35.
correct. So if you've started, right, I'll go back.
Yeah.
If you started 2015
All right.
and we come today, you are the worst person to give advice on what is budget friendly.
All right, let's
And I know this may actually ruffle some feathers, but it's true. You literally are the worst person. Why? Because in 2015, right, whiskey is just like any commodity where you just sit there and go, after 5 years, you sound like you are like a centennial. You're like,
yeah.
back in my days, 5 years ago, when we used to buy those Eagle Rare at $29.99,
Yeah.
and we thought it was very expensive. You can find it no more. Forget about it. Like that's how you feel. But it's only been 5 years, and you sound like somebody who's very old
So
because
removed.
the market has shifted drastically, right?
Yeah.
So for that reason, every time somebody asks me something budget friendly, I always say, what's your definition of budget
How about
friendly?
this? 3 entry-level bottles for someone who is just starting off.
If you're starting off and now you also have to be specific. Are you starting off in bourbon? Are you starting off in single malt? Are you starting off in cognac, Armagnac, Calvados? What?
Give me one.
I'm a spirit guy, right?
Give me 1 bourbon, 1 cognac, and 1 offshoot. One that just stood out, something that you should try, or something.
Okay. So I think when it comes to bourbon, I'll give you 3 options in each, so people can actually have like options.
Okay.
First option when it comes to bourbon, you almost cannot go wrong, because I don't believe anybody should actually go for a bourbon that actually will burn your palate immediately. So you always have to be bottled and bond. So for that reason, I always tell everybody the biggest bottled and bond producer right now is Heaven Hill, right?
Love them.
So which actually means that you are between Mellowcon, Bottle and Bond, Heaven Hill, Bottle and Bond themselves, right? Which is all these things are literally under 50. So $39.99, you will actually find those things that are there. And you have Evan William, Bottle and Bond. Those 3, beginner, you can start right there.
Yeah, can't go wrong. Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond is one of my favorite.
Correct. So for me, that's where I tell everybody to always start. Otherwise, the old and faithful Wild Turkey 101, right? Wild Turkey 101. That's a bourbon that you define time, space, and everything else, right?
Yeah.
Again, still $29.99 till today. It's $30. If you hate it, you just spend $30. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you can walk that off.
At the worst, what I like tell people, best yet worst case scenario still also come from Heaven Hill is what do you call it?
Rittenhouse?
It's not. Bernheim. Bernheim is Bernheim is there, but I'm talking about something that is sorry, I lied. Is not from Heaven Hill. Is from Beam. I usually would tell people, if you are not sure, Knob Creek, right? Knob Creek is a good is literally Knob Creek 100, right? Just worst case scenario, Old Forester 100. Those things are all under $40, so you can actually get those things and not have any issue.
Yeah.
If we have to go on anything, you get into whiskey, first thing I advise everybody is Auchentoshan, 12 years old. Glen Scotia, 12 years old. All those are under $40.
Okay.
Those are Scotch. Those are single malts. All right. Those are Campbellton and Lowland single malt. And this one is very expensive now, but it used to be what I advise everybody. Balvenie Caribbean cask, 14 years. If even if you don't like whiskey, that's probably the most approachable whiskey for you to have.
Okay.
Balvenie 14-year Caribbean cask, Oakentoshan 12-year, Glen Scotia 12. Those are entry level things that when you have, it doesn't kick your bucket, it doesn't drive you insane, it doesn't push you away from every person that isn't that starting to whiskey that I've given a Balvenie 14 to became a Scotch drinker immediately.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So, and then if we gonna walk uh into uh into cognac, my advice to everyone is that you have to find a cognac that actually, for me, stand the test of time and actually is solid. I never recommend Hennessy as the first option. My first option, believe it or not, will be Martell, the Martell
Yeah, the Marcel.
VS.
Okay.
I feel like Martell have one of those older casks, and their blending level is kind of at a superior level when it comes to a cognac. Beside Martell, I probably will actually go for Remy Martin and a Remy Martin. But the one thing I advise you when it comes to cognac is uh, don't be surprised or don't be crazy to go really off. Cognac is the only thing I tell people stay completely away from all celebrity brand. Never touch them. When it comes to cognac
Yeah.
and tequila,
Yeah.
just take celebrity brands and put it in the trash and forget about it,
Tequilas lately.
right?
Yeah.
So I remind everyone, throw that on the trash. Now let's come to real of those. Go to the houses that are offshoot. You'll be surprised what those houses have. From Ferran. Ferran make amazing cognac, right? Ferrand. Ferran House make amazing cognac. They're not popular. But if you think of why will somebody like Barstown Bourbon Company choose Ferran cask to actually age their bourbon in,
Mhm.
that's because that's the quality of cask that they have at their house. So
Yeah.
Ferran is an amazing cognac for people to go to. Those are things that I will advise people to
Okay.
actually have.
All right. Well, I will make sure to try out some of these because I don't mess with scotch as often as I used to. But definitely worth it.
Balvenie 14-year Caribbean cask.
The Caribbean cast is going to really sell me. I'm not going to lie to you because I've never really had a Caribbean cast that struck me wrong. Like even with rums, it's just always been fantastic. But we will be right back, guys. And when we get back into it, we're going to get to know Jack a little bit more. Be right back. Hey guys, here at the show, we ask that you follow 3 simple rules that'll save your night and possibly your dignity. Rule number 1, don't drink and drive. Seriously, Uber exists for a reason. If you wouldn't trust yourself to build IKEA furniture after 3 bourbons, you definitely shouldn't be behind the wheel. Rule number 2, avoid Amazon one-click buy. Drunk you thinks a medieval suit of armor is a great investment. Sober you, not so much. And then try to explain to your credit card company that. And finally, rule number 3, do not text your ex. Look, they had their chance, and you deserve better. No one ever found happiness at the bottom of a 2 a.m. I miss you text. Move on, hydrate, and all right, so we are back. Jack, so we went over kind of your recommendations and things that you would put out there for everyone to try out, but wanted to also ask you about a little bit more of what you've got going on. So tell us about Afro Fusion. What sparked this series, and what is it for anyone at home?
Afro Fusion is African food meets whiskey. And Afro Fusion is me. Afro Fusion is the definition of who I am.
Yeah. I mean, there are
I'm
three.
African.
Yeah, there are 3
I'm
universal
African.
languages. Yeah, go ahead.
I love African food. I make some at home. I always have some. But every time I have to introduce new whiskey anywhere, I always take it to an African gathering. The reason why is because their opinion, African people are the most brutally honest people on the planet, just like most immigrant family.
Yeah,
So if the whiskey is not good, you will hear it there.
the
If
food
it's
is not
amazing,
good.
you will hear it there as well. So the idea came after a friend of mine and I were actually having some suya. She's American. We were having suya We were eating some suya, which is street the street beef stripe that you beef chunks and
Mhm.
stripes that were grilled for a long time and seasoned. What you have is a street food, right?
Mhm.
Poor kids and or your first date at high school, or you take your girlfriend to the suya guy and he give you some meat, some onion, a little
Mhm.
bit of pepper on the side, and you have it with some local drinks. And that's it. And while we were having that, she made an old fashioned, and I brought the suya. And she actually is a bartender, and she's like, "Oh, I never had this." But I'm like, "Oh, you're gonna love this. This is like childhood memory all over." And we are having it, and she's like, "This would be amazing for like a dinner idea to have this and an old fashioned."
Yeah.
And that's where the idea was born from. How can I bring my two words together, right? Born and raised African, love food
Mhm.
and love whiskey. Bourbon as a spirit have nothing to do with African food. But when you bring those two together and you start thinking about those seasoning,
Mhm.
what we use in West African cuisine, from clove to anise to turmeric, cayenne, you know, what do you call it? Ginger, clove, all these things that you actually have. You realize that I've realized for the longest time that when I describe whiskey, I'm using those definition as spice. But people actually ask me all the time, why you describe whiskey like that? They're like, oh, it's cinnamon. I say, I didn't grow up with cinnamon. I don't know what cinnamon is. I didn't know what cinnamon is till I came to America.
It's
But you
fair.
want to talk about clove? I know what cloves is. I know what tiger root tastes like. I know what clove tastes like.
That's
I know
such a
what anise tastes like
Mhm.
because those are things I grew up with. I know what human tastes like.
Yeah, that's
But
a fair thing to say. I didn't think about that. The fact that like, how could you make those comparisons if you've never tried those things? So really interesting
that's
thing.
that's why I feel sorry to cut you off, but
Mm.
that's why I feel like some people lie to us when
Yes,
they're
all the
describing things
time.
to us. Because when people give me taste note, because somebody got on my case one time saying, "Oh, your taste notes are kind of similar, or you use kind of the same thing." I say, "Yes, it should tell you that my taste note are based on my experience."
Mhm.
So the reason why I would give general taste note and come particularly, and that was on Twitter actually, because I said when I've tried the
Mhm.
Barstown Bourbon Company, the Cathedral, the one that they use, Notre
Oh
Dame de Paris,
yes, yeah,
one that they've used 150-year French oak to age. I
yeah.
said it reminds me of African cacao.
Mhm.
And the person like, what do you mean African cacao? What cacao is different? I say, clearly you don't know the difference between African, right, cacao and their chocolate compared to Belgium that was transformed. If you actually walked in a place where they're making fresh cacao, you actually gonna throw up if you're not used to it because it's sour
Yeah,
and fermented. It's just like coffee. When people look at coffee, they think it's just coffee bean that they have in their Starbucks things or in the bucket. No, real coffee doesn't look black.
no,
It
it has to
has
get
to be.
roasted.
So when you cacao is the same thing.
Mhm.
It's actually is pictured.
Yeah,
It's
we
like
had a
sticky.
giant
You
cacao
got to
bean. Yeah,
correct.
we've done some
So
chocolatier
so
stuff.
when I'm saying African cacao, it's like that cacao is almost a little bitter
Yeah,
and a little sour, but before you get those warm chocolate note that actually come through, and it's like, oh, I didn't know there's a difference because you never experienced that,
yeah.
right? So you cannot understand it.
That's interesting that someone went at you online about just your experiences and your
Yeah,
perception
because
of
it's
it
like, well, why do you have to call it African cacao? And I'm
because
like,
that's the one I've had.
because you don't you the person thought I was trying to be facetious by actually just saying that it's African cacao versus actually just saying it's cacao. And I'm like, no, there is a difference. Madagascar vanilla bean is not the same as Asian vanilla bean.
Yeah, there's even multiple forms of cinnamon, I guess.
Right.
Like, yeah, so people can't really compare the two, and the flavor notes are very different. I mean,
So in Afro Fusion,
and where can
to
people
come
find this
back to your
series? Yeah.
question, is really about bringing flavors that people may be familiar with flavors that people have never been familiar with. At
Yeah.
Afrofusion, we bring in culture,
Hmm.
spirits, and music in one room. You come for the food, I've partnered with chefs from all around Africa,
Hmm.
all around the US to highlight first those chefs because African cuisine now become it is a thing now. Afrobeat is a thing now, but people never paid attention to it till it became mainstream. So those African chefs have restaurant that some people live in a city that they've never visited. But because those people like bourbon and I'm coming to those towns, they're like, oh, I will come for the whiskey. And then when they meet the food, they're like, oh, I'm
Oh,
coming here every day. So
yes.
from East Africa, West Africa, North Africa, I've had chefs from all the place in Africa to showcase the beauty, the culture, the richness of our food and those spices that
Mhm.
we can find when whiskey comes in to create that beautiful uniformity.
That's dope. And if someone wanted to look into it, where could they find information about
So Afro Fusion usually happens on my channel if you
it?
follow me.
Hmm.
Uh, I will tell you, let me tell you something that will shock a lot of people. The concepts sound great, right?
Hmm.
But do you know how many no's I've received when I approach a brand to do this? Actually, not even regular no. Fuck no's. That's
What?
literally what I get. Yeah, because brands like, oh, that's not a thing. We rather pair it with ice cream. We rather pair it with a let's pair it with a what do you call it with a chocolatier. You would think
Dark
they will go all around everywhere else,
Hmm.
but you support it. There's only two brands that thought this was a fantastic idea.
Okay.
That said yes, and that's Heaven Hill. Heaven Hill said we support this idea. So for the last 5 years, they're the one that have helped every single Afro Fusion that I've done. And then Holiday Distillery in Missouri that actually said we would do this at our distillery. As a matter of fact, we want to support a local African chef in Missouri, bring a local African chef so we can actually do one. And that when I tell you the amount of people that live in these marketing department and marketing agencies that are just ignorant
Hmm.
in their ways because they always think and doesn't even matter how much money they have, how much education they have. And I don't do an interview without being controversial, but I can tell you right now, to the best of them, the worst one are the European ones,
Hmm.
but to the best of them, you see big brand and you think they are amazing at what they do. They can't even embrace diversity of taste, even if he hit them in the face. The biggest brand, Buffalo Trace, Sazerac, what do you call it? Brown Foreman, all those people
Hmm.
will look at you and go, I don't know what you mean by that. Because they refuse to think outside of the box for a minute. So when people are there praising those brands and putting their stuff out there sometime, some people don't understand why I don't get excited about it because I always tell them, I say, it's three people sitting in a cubicle in the marketing place thinking that, oh, if we take one big brand and we feature with that brand, that's it. But I'm like, immigrant community, right? From Jamaican, Haitian, Africans, all those brands are looking for an excuse to try your product if you tell them the food is sitting next to it. And when I tell you, they act like you asking them to change the whole world for it.
That is wild. You would imagine that people would want to broaden the
No,
demographics of everything that they
no,
wanted to like sell.
don't
Oh
let
no.
any of those brands fool you.
Oh no, no, no. I'm just saying.
From
I believe you.
don't let any of those brands. I promise you,
Hmm.
your favorite brand, your favorite brand have a marketing department that ain't worth shit. They just know how to copy and paste whatever it is that they know,
Hmm.
and they don't like to get outside of their bubble at all to do anything till they're either called out on it, then there's an emergency meeting, or till somebody is powerful enough and influence to tell them you're wrong for what you're doing. And then all of a sudden, you become the cool things that they've ever tried before. And that happened every time. I'm talking every time. I'm not talking maybe sometime. I'm talking every time. And like I said, your favorite brand doesn't know how to market itself till somebody tell them you can market yourself differently. Every time it happens.
They stick to the tried and true and what they know and they're comfortable with, and nothing outside of that. It's kind of sad. Especially, like, I mean, we talked about it right in the beginning of this episode. It's just that this isn't necessarily a world that was always built for us, this space. So kind of forcing ourselves in it. Respect. I mean, even if it's a little bit disrespectfully, just showing up and I'm like, I'm going to enjoy this too. I'm going to have some fun with it and do it my way and all that. That's kind of what I really enjoyed about spirits in general. We have, and I know that a lot of people will talk about spirits in the purest forms, but I think cocktails have always been also a different way of like making sure that we could bring in different flavor profiles and things of that, where like culturally, like guava for some aspects, like, hey, I'm going to use a tamarindo or whatever. Like, we're going to have fun with this. And you see like these blendings of cultures or Asian inspired cultures as well, like udon water and all these kind of things. So I think like that's been a harmonious way where like cocktails and spirits could have found a way to market to kind of forcing that marketing. Is, hey, you would have a lot of success if you went over here, but yeah, there's still people who are always going to be resistant, right? There's still people who think
the craziest thing is you talk about hospitality.
Yeah.
The only reason why Bacardi as a brand is making wave now in Africa is because two of the global brand managers are African.
Ha!
So those people now, shout out to Colin Appiah. He's been behind the bar for a long time, originally from Ghana, live in the UK now, in the US, and actually working with Bacardi. He just finished 3 weeks ago at Accra Bar Show in Ghana. And this literally brought bartenders from all around West Africa walking in to learn something with all Bacardi product. And mind you, Bacardi make rum, which is normal thing that we use every time back home.
Yeah.
And it took one person to say, no, we need to change that. He have a Juba that he does for South Africa, that all these bartenders come in and getting educated, understanding. You have people like John Kaguru. John Kaguru have a nonprofit. All he does is get bars, old used bar tools from US bartenders and take it to Africa to help small bartender, because the average bartender in Africa doesn't even have tools. So every year at Tales of Cocktails, John will go around and collect all these tools to bring to African bartenders so they can have something to use. But these organizations, right, you have to understand, Africa doesn't register in what they even call a buying power, because they're shuffling all their product through Dubai, through Germany, and now Germany sells to those third world countries.
That I did not know. I actually did not know that was a thing with the bar tools. Like, that is insane.
Yeah, John Kaguru is what I call for me the hospitality angel. If you tell John, even in the middle of, excuse my French, but butt fuck nowhere, there is bartenders there that need help. John will fly with his own money to go down there to go help and help. And this John is a colored kid, from South Africa that lived in America and everywhere and around the world, and he believed for people behind the bar. When I told John that Togo need an educator to actually help bartenders, John flew with 2 bags of tools with his own money down to Togo to help just educate bartenders that are behind the bar for them. There's people that will do everything for someone to present you a beautiful cocktail with their culture in it. And these people will go beyond and above everything for that to be a thing. So those people make me feel like what I do is sometimes even irrelevant. Yes, I have 50 or more thousand followers, but it's irrelevant.
Mhm.
What the real people are the heroes that wake up every day just trying to help.
That's fair. Yeah. And also a big shout out to people, like I know we've talked about it a couple of times, like I do also agree with you where people in the service industry and all that are kind of unsung heroes of things. And we even on the show we made a t-shirt that says bartender is like person who serves drinks, but part-time therapist, best friend, marriage counselor, blah, 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 all these things. It's like, so yeah, tip your bartender. Like there's like we have plenty of like the local establishments, the Courtesy, the Tories, the / all these places. And you'd be surprised how often they've become like your best friends and all this stuff. And they get the brunt of it a lot of the times. And if it isn't for tips, half of them could barely make rent, like all these kind of things. But almost all of our best memories are grounded in either food, drink, or dance. So like, why would we not appreciate those people that did those things? I don't have a fondest memory of the time I ate salad, but I can promise you, I can tell you about every time I've had a night out with my friends, drinks, and the specific places we were and the drinks we had. So definitely this is part of culture and this is part of like the community. So I think that they deserve a lot more praise. So I'm glad that someone's out there looking out for those areas and opportunities that aren't there or the tools aren't there. So I did not know that was going on, and I'm really going to do some more research now.
Oh, you need to. You are gonna have a lot of shocking
Yeah, I was
moments.
like, what? It's like these people. I would imagine you want to make more money, all these kind of things. But I imagine there's a lot of gatekeeping too, and this is our community. Oh, it's just messed up. But Jack, we talked about your podcast and and I love the fact that we're talking about how representation's mattering in the spirits industry, and I felt like a natural segue with kind of what you said. Is it like, do you feel that now, especially with, I know she's going through her own controversy, like Fawn Weaver and all that, where there's kind of this space where we're starting to occupy as like minorities inclusion. Like, why do you think now more than ever it's more important to see that change?
So the reason why is I tell people all the time is there is this weird idea in people's head that things need to look a certain way. But I said America is called a melting pot, or is a country of immigrants, right? People migrated from everywhere. It's the renegade, is the weird ones that made America, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what did the line say? Bring us your sorrows, your pain, and your people. Like when you look at America as a whole, you'll find something American of anywhere. Haitian American, Asian American, Togolese American. There's always something American, German American. You'll find something of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why is it weird that in every space there's not that? Right. So when they say representation matter, yeah, there's a lot of untold stories of people that have helped in the spirit industry that were not told. Fun did one thing that a lot of people that kind of revolutionized how people look at the spirit industry.
Mm-hmm.
People that lived in Lynchburg and Shelbyville and those places knew that there was a free slave that helped Jack Daniel make whiskey. But that never was put anywhere. Yeah, we can say that, the intent was not to hide that story, but something untold is also hidden.
Yeah.
Something only known by few is also hidden.
Yeah.
Right.
A lie of omission is still a lie.
Correct. For someone to actually bring in the public eye, turn into a thing, and make sure that name is not forgotten. Yes, we can go on and say, oh, she's capitalizing on somebody's stories and whatnot. But I know today, and I can say for a fact, the amount of people that were able to grab new opportunities, become distillers, get into program that they would never get to, get scholarship because of the Nathan, right? That because of the weavers, what they've done and what the kind of the nearest green and nearest Jack initiative did for those people.
Yeah.
You cannot take that away from anybody.
Yeah, for those
so correct. So
for those
every area need improvement. But when we look at it, yeah, we need every person in the industry. I did an interview last time where, the is Morgan Spirit, right? And this guy is a Japanese kid that never really embraced the Japanese culture, but love bourbon, born in Kentucky, a kid of a second generation immigrant that is now taking Japanese culture and bourbon become a thing. That's what we want to see. You have women like, Heather Green, right? Nancy Fraley, Tracy Franklin, Fawn herself, right? Her blender herself. All these women that are making stride in the industry that no one talks about, right? Everybody want to point out the negative. Great, negative, make things great.
Yeah.
But is it really what makes us grow? No.
Yeah, of course.
No. Representation matters because the same way I came in the industry, I have an accent. So the next African kid, right? You had to see my face, just as a caveat. I had to see my face yesterday. I met a guy from Ivory Coast at the Apple store, which was one of the engineers. If you see my face lit up, I've been coming to the Apple store for years. This is probably my 15th phone that I've had in the last since 2010 or that.
What are we
But
doing? Why are
the
you back in
simple fact
phones?
to see a guy from Ivory Coast that is telling me about my phone, I was like a kid in a candy store. Representation matter because
Yeah.
people feel comfortable where they can relate. So I want the next little girl that become 21 and think on girl engineer that want to get into distilling, or the next marketing guru to say, I have someone that I can look up to. I want the next African kid that say, I want to do something in the spirit to feel like I have somebody who can sound and look like me. Repetitions matter because when you are on this road and you're alone, it is harder. But what makes people actually keep moving forward is because they have someone or somebody or a figure that they look at, go, if Jack did it, I can probably do it and do it better.
Yeah. And that's 100% fair. I think that in all aspects of life, having someone who has kind of paved the way, taken the L's so you can get to the head and kind of be in a space that wasn't available for you. And even with the Uncle Nearest thing, one of the, for anyone listening at home, the Uncle Nearest did a bunch of foundations and did a bunch of scholarships for people who are like minority owned businesses and all this. And you could have applied for a lot of these things if you were starting up a business like that. So there was a lot of positives, and you are right. I do hate that now suddenly the only thing we focus on is the negative. Not we, the news, the media, the people who are trying to sway public perception of things.
And I truly...
But, and I think that the other brands don't get the same scrutiny. Other brands don't get the same, like, the moment to mess up. I mean, we hear about Diageo and the tequila controversy. It's thrown around in jokes about it being partially filled in sugarcane, but I don't see the CEO's face anywhere. I don't see the public figure with that scrutiny and everything that they've been basically lying to the public about. But Fawn Weaver's face is everywhere. So yeah, it's kind of shitty. I'll just say it. Like it's not kind of shitty. It is shitty that we will see her face plastered around the controversy, but not anyone else's when they make when something happens in their spirit industry. I mean, is that fair to say?
It is. So, somebody have to be their scapegoat. I'm glad she's standing up. She's fighting. She's making sure that she's standing to it. Running a business is not easy. I'm a business owner myself.
Yeah.
Keeping up with things is not easy. I don't care what anybody says. I'm sure this is a lesson that she has to learn. I'm sure this is a hurdle that she have to climb. But I wrote this on my story when this thing happened, and I'll say it again. She's going to be fine.
Agreed.
She's going to be fine.
Yeah. Agreed. And just shout out to their brand too. If anyone has never tried their product, it's fucking fantastic. I love it. I've gone to whiskey festivals and all this stuff, and I've tried them before. I tried it way back in the day when we actually did like a 20-minute video about the history of Uncle Nearest on our YouTube. So just kind of speaking about all the little hidden gems that no one wanted to talk about. So definitely an interesting story for those at home that are probably might be hearing about Uncle Nearest for the first time. Check it out. All right. So we talked about what barrel proof means to you, what the diversity and inclusion means to you in the industry, being kind of uncut and unfiltered with even the way you communicate. I love and appreciate. And that speaks a lot to why people want to get to know you. Looking ahead, what does that mean for the future of your brand and your products and everything that you got coming up and projects? Like how is it what's the next thing for the Hood Sommelier?
Hood Sommelier for me is about expanding this knowledge of spirits all around the world. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping things work out where, like my year is divided into 3. First is between March and May are for specific heritage. So tequila, right? 30 days of tequila. March, I do 30 days of Irish whiskey. The goal is, to find brands that believe in me now to say, hey, we'll sponsor you now to actually go to, tequila, go to Mexico for that 30 days of tequila, highlight their spirit, talk about to the folks in that. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, the hardest thing in this industry is to find someone that believes in you and that's willing to actually push you to actually do something. I've built a good enough reputation where now my 30 days of Irish whiskey by January, most people know, if you bring your spirit, I'm going to spend 30 days recording, talking, and interviewing people about their spirit. And PR agencies are the worst because they're the gatekeepers of everything. So you also have to deal with them on a daily basis. But the goal is eventually to go to Ireland for that 30 days, right? Expanding my knowledge worldwide, doing more dinners for people so they can, bring in more cuisines around, not just African cuisine, but other cuisines that actually will expand the world. Bring more of my impact in West Africa. Start helping brands actually understand that US is a market, Asia is a market, Europe is a market, Africa is also a market. How can we get your product to actually get there? Continue to tell people's story. Being a brand owner is only pretty when you look at the bottle. The tears, sweat, nightmares, pain that actually goes into making a brand. The truth is, barrel proof is always here to tell those people's story and how they came about. Because truly, no one understands how hard that is. Yeah. Right? No one understands how, and I'm going to keep telling that story. Start bringing a little more humor. And I think, a little more human and awareness, right? I'm from Africa. So every Thursday I have wisdom from Africa, right? You remember when you said when we were talking about tales and what make us original and whatnot. I try not to lose my originality, and my originality is in wisdom from Africa, whereas, something your uncle, like I put one on today, right? Yeah. And
uncle says he hates your name.
They don't always sound right, but is something your drunk uncle tell you, your grandmother told you, or something that you heard from a family member. Actually, it pushed me even to actually look for if somebody had a book about this wisdom that I heard, and I met this guy from Kenya.
Really?
That actually created a book. He said the wisest book of African proverb, and the title is "In My Village They Say," and in my village they say,
fantastic name.
Great, right? In my village they say, that's all. So I even reached out to him and I told him, I said, I'm buying your book, and I'm every Thursday I'm gonna read one that actually is great. And today's wisdom was, the butt cheeks can get bigger, but they will never suffocate your anus. And what they mean by that is, if you know your worth, people's growth and affluence will never affect you, right?
That's what that means. That's what that means.
So there's so many.
That's what
things
you got from that. I feel
correct. My uncle used to say this one. He said, when we disrespect him, No. He used to tell this to our like uncles would talk to our dad because they're older than them.
Yeah.
Every time a younger person would do something great and they would try to cut him
Mm-hmm.
to stop talking, he would always say, "Yo, the eyebrows were in your face before your beard, but your beard grow longer and bigger than your eyebrows."
Just because they were first doesn't mean that they're the, yeah.
Exactly. Just because you are here first
Does not
doesn't
mean.
mean that you know better,
Yep.
or doesn't mean that you actually are can do better.
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody new comes to tell you something, you may want to take a moment and listen
Mm-hmm.
because they may actually do it better
Yeah.
than you. So those are little things that but some of them are cheeky, right?
Oh yeah.
Some of them are like extreme.
Oh
For
yeah.
example,
The butt cheeks one.
like the one that actually literally had everybody on YouTube like kill, like everybody start. I had more comment on it that I could
Yeah.
actually even, you know, that's my one of my dad's favorite. He said, "You will never understand the definition that not every situation need to be handled with violence till a mosquito lands on your balls."
Oh, I mean that's fair. Like shit. Like because you great pause. Like fuck. Let's think about it. Let's be gentle here. Hands up.
Right. So,
Oh, that's fucking awful. I don't
you
even
know,
know what I
so
would do.
those are
I'm gonna lose a testicle. I know.
those are the classics of wisdom from Africa, right?
I would fucking lose a nut because I think my reaction would be, God damn it.
But think
That's a
about
lesson
it.
learned. That's a lesson
Yeah,
learned.
yeah, you think about it, right? It's like you never understand the phrase, not
Yeah.
every situation need to be handled with violence
Yeah.
till a mosquito lands on your balls. And as a man, automatically you know what that means.
Yeah. That pain. It doesn't need full swinging. That doesn't. No, I'm good.
So,
Whew. All right.
so those are little things that you grew up with, you hear every time,
Yeah.
I think one day there's this, again, you think only Africans will pay attention to it, but people from all around.
No.
There's this guy from China who sent me a message on IG. He said, "You said a wisdom from Africa that I've been saying the whole month to my parents," and it was about persistency in life.
Mm-hmm.
They say no matter how much the rain hits your head,
Mm-hmm.
a coconut tree will never grow on it. Right? Meaning that even if you're going through the toughest time, you will not die from those.
Yep.
So,
I mean, that's something weird. Like, I think those old school proverbs and like the wise words of Africa, I think they're funny. I think it's funny. And I think we talked about what you just said, like, they're cheeky.
yeah.
Back in the day, like, people were a lot less PC. So yeah,
Oh
some
yeah.
of them were going to be.
And the craziest thing is when you read some of them,
Mhm.
you're like, I don't know if I can say this and publish.
Yeah, this is not
But
something I want to
some
say
of
in front of my
them-
friends about the balls one. That might not be
Yeah.
something I say to my mom.
So there is one that actually I'm gonna give the audience here
Okay.
that they can actually take.
Okay.
They say even the fish that lives in water is still thirsty.
I like that.
In the context of modern story, believe it, a supernatural gift, it's a supernatural gift to be able to say, I have enough, and be happy and grateful for what you have.
Goddamn, Jack.
People's greed are natural.
Yeah.
It's normal to want more.
Mm-hmm.
Wanting more doesn't make you a bad person, because even a fish that lives in water
It's thirsty.
is thirsty.
I like that. I'm going to put that on a timestamp. I'm going to send that out. No, I like that because it's true. I think that there's very often you're demonized for wanting more, or like is this not enough? Like, what, bro? Like, I'm trying here. I'm trying to do more. And the pursuit, what is it? The fastest way to mediocrity is, what is it? God, I had it in the tip of my tongue. This is terrible. You said all these phrases and I'm here like stuck.
Right.
Being realistic is the fastest road to mediocrity. So just accepting is like, I have enough. It's like, but you'll never be great. I mean, to each their own. If you don't want to be, that's fine. But yeah, if you're trying to be great, you're going to have to ask for, it's okay to want more.
So I heard one time somebody said the edge of failure starts at complacency.
Yup. Man, we're here walking around like last call podcast, just proverbs, just out here. We're hopefully inspiring motherfuckers. We're at the end of the show, so I can curse as much as I want. Like, I hope.
But that's the part people don't listen to. So we good.
No, that's the part that I put in the bonus features. So there's like 20 minutes that goes into like the paywall. But definitely, I love that, and I think that, and we could talk about it all day about like proverbs and all this stuff and these motivational and inspirational quotes coming from places that have had nothing, or people who've had next to nothing, and like they're wanting some motivational drivers and things that have kept them going. And when we hinted about storytelling and just sitting around campfires, like those stories are really innately indoctrinated in our lifestyles and our cultures, where those stories kept us whole and also kept us grounded at that historical value. But, that's for another day, because I know we got limited time. You've had a lot of busy scheduling. And but I do want to, before I ask you our last three questions, those kind of the hinted that we talked about earlier. I do want to thank you for taking the time, man, because I've been trying to get you on for a while, and I know we've been going back and forth, and thank you for taking the time today in short notice. Like, we talked Monday. Absolutely. You're like, I'm free Thursday. Let's rock and roll. I was like, shit, let's go. I'll make time. One of the things we like asking people, especially when they're influenced with spirits or familiar with spirit industry, is what is your deathbed cocktail?
You know what? I want a Rob Roy but they have to use my favorite single malt.
Okay.
Octomalt.
A Rob Roy.
Something peated, smoky. And if they don't have it.
No, it's your deathbed. You get whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, because if they told me they don't have it, I would look at them and say, can you make me a bacon fat wash, old fashioned, with a crispy bacon on top of it?
Man, you would have loved being at my house for Saturdays, because we would experiment with shit like that. For those at home wondering what a Rob Roy is, it's 2 ounces of blended Scotch whiskey, 1 ounce vermouth, 2 to 3 dashes of Anglo bitters, and a maraschino cherry for garnish. Sounds about right.
Yeah, right. So it's a Manhattan,
but with Scotch.
Without the rye, you bring the single malt in.
Yeah, that's not a bad cocktail, man. Great choice. That's the first one. You're my first Rob Roy. I've asked like 60 people their deathbed cocktails. First Rob Roy. I've had old fashions. I've had Hemingway daiquiri.
I am special.
Yeah,
I am special.
I'm happy. I'm happy that we got it there. But I appreciate the time. Where can people find you? Where anything you have coming up that you want to make sure you make people aware of? Tell us about, so we're, if they want to learn more.
Where can you find me is Hood Sommelier, HOODSOMMELIER, on all social media, from TikTok to YouTube to Instagram. It's Hood Sommelier. I'm gonna be mobile a little bit, so make sure you follow me on social media. I have a lot of in-person things I'll be doing. Kentucky Bourbon Festival coming up in the second week of September. I'll be there. Right after that, first week of October, London Whiskey Show. I'll be there.
Oh, and really?
Hopefully, third week of November, I'll be hosting a few events in West Africa where we taking whiskey and cigars to a next level. So yeah. A lot of global things happening.
Yeah, that's dope. I'm excited for you, especially with everything you've had going on in the past. You Ascot Awards, everything like that. Like you're killing the game, man. I'm
trying my best to hopefully. I tell people, if I was getting paid truly what I'm worth or the effort I'm putting in this industry, I probably would do this full time. But the reason why I don't get discouraged is but I'm hoping that the map that I'm drawing today will help the next person coming in, knowing that they can already walk in and avoid all the mistake that I've already made and be paid what they're worth. That will make me happy.
Paving the way, man, making it, that's, I'm sure we appreciate it. I, for one, love what you're doing. Keep it up. And I will show nothing but love wherever I can. So definitely. So guys, if you are enjoying what we are doing here and you want to make sure you check Jack out, give him some love. And if you enjoy what we are doing, Last Call with Arthur on Instagram and all social media, we will continue doing some cocktail videos for things that I like, whether there's, and no one's a sponsor from, well, actually one, but yeah, the bottles you've seen me featured recently is just kind of like the flavor profiles and unique things that we're trying out. So definitely continue to let me know what you guys think. If you find something unique, throw it my way and I'll experiment with it. So make sure you guys drink responsibly, take care of yourselves, and be good to each other. Bye, guys. Hey guys, today's episode is brought to you by Burn Termite and Pest Control. I first met Joe Byrne on Full Frontal Nerdity Show and decided to give his company a try. They have been the best pest service I've ever had, from flexible scheduling, attention to detail, fair pricing, and everything you love about a small business. I highly recommend Joe Byrne and Burn Termite and Pest Control. It's a family-owned and operated business with over 30 years of experience in termite and pest. You can reach Burn Termite and Pest Control at 321-297-7985. Once again, 321-297-7985. And let them know Bourbon and Bullshit sent you. Thanks, guys. See you next time.